Today we're going to go to Chelsea for something a little different than the usual gallery walk. We're actually going to see a few artists talk through their own exhibits, and we're going to start at Pace Gallery, where we'll see Rafael Lozano-Hemmer exhibit, which is titled Common Measures. And this exhibit is so much more than just a pretty Instagrammable installation. The work we see here is made up of 3,000 light bulbs, each pulsing to the rhythm of a human heart. The piece was inspired by the, quote, Mexican classic movie Macario, in which the protagonist has a hunger-induced hallucination that shows each person on the planet represented by a frail, flickering candle. And now we'll hear a few words from Rafael.
And we do two kinds of work. We do works that are for gallery or for museum or for biennial, and then we do a lot of outdoor work as well. So a lot of public art, and that's perhaps what I'm most known for, at least here in New York. I want to mention that I, as I was saying, work in a team. At the bottom of the credits of the exhibition, we have people's names, and I think that's really important because, unfortunately, in visual arts, sometimes we forget that people work in teams. But in performing arts, it's never a problem. You have the director, then you have, the script writer, the composer. Everybody gets named. We're doing that because we care about that kind of collaborative work. We're here to present three pieces. The first one is this one. It's called Pulse Topology. It's a project that has 3,000 light bulbs, each of which is glimmering at the heartbeat of a different person from the past. So if you take an individual heartbeat, you will notice it has systolic and diastolic activity. That's a recording of someone's private vital signs. The project this is over 30 miles of cable, so it looks really simple, but it's actually quite a complicated thing, and I want to thank Pace Gallery and my team for doing such a beautiful installation. And what's happening in this installation is not unlike what I've been working on for about 20 years, which is a lot of biometric work. How can we make evident the vital signs, something that's invisible? And the story behind this is my ex-wife was pregnant with twins, and I learned that the ultrasound machine can let you listen to the heart of the baby. But being a nerd, I asked for 2 ultrasound machines so that we can listen to the heartbeat of the boy and the heartbeat of the girl simultaneously. And they were making this, they're completely different. They're making this kind of syncopated music like Steve Reich or Glenn Branca or Colin Mancow. So I thought, what if we can make an artwork that represents plurality, in this case 3,000 heartbeats simultaneously. So Pulse Topology is part of that tradition of artworks that I've been making. At the very entrance to the gallery, you will see a chronology of 60 years of other artists working with heartbeats, because even though they call what I do new media, I don't think that this is new at all. I think that anybody who thinks that digital art is new is somebody who has not studied the history of art.
And now Rafael's actually going to demonstrate how you can interact with this artwork. There are sensors placed throughout it, and you can actually have your heartbeat become part of the exhibit.
To the canopy of light. As I release it, these lights collapse into a single one, which is the brightest one. This is now my heart. Now I need another person, somebody with a heart. Please have your heart. So I'm still over there. I now gradually, you're more of a sports person than I am, obviously. This slow heartbeat is a really good thing. And now, as you release it, you will go to one bright light bulb right there. So this is your and my heartbeats together, kind of like what I was telling you about the twins.
So as you just saw, these aren't just static light bulbs kind of mimicking what a heartbeat would be. These actually are human heartbeats, 3,000 different people. And as people come through the exhibit, the oldest heartbeat will leave and be replaced by the newest. So you're now gonna see it again in action. It's happening. Yeah, so it feels your heart, and then when you take it away, it stops, and then there you are! Oh, it's so cool.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God. Scared.
Oh, wow.
This is the second work in the exhibit, and it's titled Call on Water. And it features words from poems by Rafael's uncle, who's the Mexican poet Octavio Paz, in water vapor. So it shoots up this water vapor, generating these words. And it's triggered by the human presence. So as you get closer to the fountain, it knows you're there, and it will show you these words. This is the third and final work in the exhibit, and it's titled Hormonium. And it's a simulation of sorts that represents how different hormones in the human body change over time. So it lives on this 8K display, and it's programmed to evolve over the course of 90 years. And this is what Rafael was referencing in his talk. This is the chronology of 60 years of artists who've worked with heartbeats, and it's displayed at the beginning of the exhibit. We're now going to head over to Hauser and Wirth to see Christina Quarles speak about her first exhibit with Hauser since being represented by the gallery in 2021.
I mean, most of my work deals with this idea of boundary and edge, and so what it is to have information that's defined by boundary and edge, but also can become undone and become limited and contained by that boundary. And so the planes are a way of introducing even more sense of boundary than just the canvas plane. But with this one, it is again that sort of atmospheric space, and I find that with my work, I mean, when I approach a canvas, I'm not drawing from any sketches or preconceived ideas of what the painting is going to be. I really come to it with this gestural place of a history of working with the figure and figure drawing. So the work will start off just with me laying down, like, a brush stroke down, seeing how far I can take the brush before it runs out of paint, and then I have to push it down again. So it's really in this gestural place, and as the forms start to develop, I will photograph the work and bring it into the computer and play around with these different planes and patterns that can interact with the figure. And so for this one, I was really interested in this moment of sort of light being drawn in. I was thinking about this moment when light peeks through a curtain and you see sort of all the dust motes and smoke and incense burning and all that kind of stuff in the air. But I'm very much, because I'm very present while I'm making these paintings, I'm also incredibly influenced by every sort of benign, simple thing that's around me. So for this painting, I just returned from Venice. I was just at the Biennale, so I was surrounded by all this water, all this sort of historic paper marbling. And then my entire family and I, we were completely in lockdown for the whole pandemic, and then we all got COVID, of course, in Venice, because it was crazy super spreader then. But so I was kind of also coming out of this COVID fog. My new baby just had COVID, and so I think that this painting really bringing in this sort of atmospheric fog, sort of water moment, and again this idea of scale, this idea of something that is, I think in the show a lot of the patterns exist on sort of two operations of scale. So this is being this sort of atmospheric smoke, but then also waves crashing or water that's super zoomed out.
Christina created most of the works in this exhibit during a recent residency at Hauser and Wirth, Somerset, which is in England, and such a beautiful place. I will leave the video that I had of my last visit linked above and below. And the gallery does a great job of describing this body of work by saying that, quote, They're a visual analogy for the push and pull between our public and private selves and inner and outer voices. The work calls attention to society's constructs around identity and the potential for excess and expanse where limitations were once prescribed. Quarles also has works at this year's Venice Biennial, where I will be bringing you all later this year, so stay tuned for that. We're now going to head to our final stop of the day, which is going to be Lehmann Maupin Gallery, to see an exhibit of works by Ho Suh. This work is titled Inverted Monument, and it's made up of extruded thermoplastic polyester that's been developed as part of an ongoing research project with a robotics team at the Center for Print Research at the University of West England, Bristol. And this sculpture represents a few different types of irreverence and rebelliousness. So first, the inversion of this sculpture, which is inspired by Western statues, is the first piece. And the second is in his partnership with this research facility to help him bring the sculpture to life. By doing that, he, quote, questions the authority and the agency of the artist's hand. In all, Ho Suh wants us to, quote, challenge what and who we choose to elevate in civic spaces. This work is titled Jet Lag, and it's made up of 400 fabric replicas of objects that have been present in the artist's studio over the past few decades. The collection of all of these objects into one giant work is meant to represent his memories over time and how space can be a thing that's transportable. So Ho Suh was not able to be here, but his studio manager was, and unfortunately I only caught the last sort of little bit of her talk, but I will share that with you all now.
Association in the UK, and these works are really important to going into practice. They're really thinking about the fragility of home, and of course, we're existing in a world in which there are 80 million people who have no home, or have been forced to leave their homes. And so this line of inquiry, he sometimes approaches from a very personal biographical point of view, but it's really trying to interrogate what home is and what happens when home is taken from us, or when we leave the place we call home.
We're now heading down to the lower level of the gallery to see a video installation titled Dong In. And this shows the, quote, architecture of one of the earliest modernist apartment blocks in the South Korean city of Daegu, ahead of its scheduled demolition. And that's all for today. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I apologize. I know the sound isn't always ideal in really large gallery spaces when you're recording audio, but still great to hear from all of these artists and the studio manager. So see you all in my next video.